The Muqaddimah is a book written by the scholar Ibn Khaldun in the 14th century and is considered one of the greatest works in human thought. The book aims to study the laws of history and human society, where Ibn Khaldun laid the foundations of sociology and provided in-depth analyses of the rise and fall of states, the nature of human civilization, economics, religion, culture, and various social and political phenomena. The author, Abd al-Rahman ibn Muhammad ibn Khaldun, is known among Arabs as the father of sociology. His upbringing in a family that held political positions and valued knowledge, culture, and intellectual pursuits contributed to his deep specialization in political and social sciences. Before diving into this summary, it is important to note that Ibn Khaldun is considered by many as one of the pioneers who established the modern scientific principles of history. He was among the first to analyze history philosophically rather than just narratively, which led many Western scholars to acknowledge his contributions and describe him as a founder of modern historical methodology. The structure of the Muqaddimah. The Muqaddimah consists of 6 sections, each divided into several chapters. Section 1. Human civilization and its conditions. This first section serves as the foundation for Ibn Khaldun's theories on sociology. Human civilization. The necessity of human society. Why can't humans live alone? Humans need food, but they cannot secure all their needs alone, which makes cooperation with others essential. The division of labor, such as farmers, artisans, and soldiers, is the foundation of stable societies. Individually, humans are weak compared to animals, but they compensate for this through intelligence and social cooperation. Example: imagine a person living alone on a deserted island. They would struggle to farm, hunt, and build shelter effectively. Therefore, cooperation between individuals is essential for society to thrive. The superiority of the North. Over the South, Ibn Khaldun linked the rise of civilizations in some regions and their absence in others to climate and temperature. He observed that hot regions are more prone to drought, making construction and civilization less sustainable. On the other hand, moderately cold regions provide a better environment for life and productivity, especially in terms of food production. However, extremely cold regions also face challenges due to difficulties in food production. Key takeaways. Ibn Khaldun emphasized food production as a crucial factor for societal progress. He argued that climate plays a direct role in economic and industrial productivity. This idea remains valid today. Leading global powers are food-secure nations with moderate climates, where all 4 seasons exist, balancing productivity and agricultural sustainability. The impact of environment and climate on societies. How does climate shape human nature? Ibn Khaldun believed that climate and environment play a major role in shaping the character of nations. People in colder regions tend to be more disciplined and hardworking, while those in hotter regions are more inclined towards relaxation and leisure. Harsh environments make people more resilient and self-reliant. Examples: desert dwellers, Bedouins, develop patience and strength due to the harshness of their environment. In Northern Europe, the cold climate has led to societies that prioritize discipline and long-term planning. Poverty and religious devotion. Ibn Khaldun did not shy away from discussing the link between poverty and religiosity, regardless of the religion in question. He observed that people in poorer regions tend to be more religious. City dwellers' religiosity fluctuates depending on their economic conditions. When times are good, people become negligent. When times are hard, they turn back to God, seeking mercy. Superficial versus genuine. Faith. Religiosity driven purely by poverty is often external, focusing on rituals and speech rather than genuine ethical behavior. Extreme poverty can lead some individuals to immoral actions, such as theft or rebellion, similar to how the Salik, outlaws, in Arab history resorted to attacking tribes in retaliation for social injustice. Food's role in shaping morality. Ibn Khaldun supported the idea that diet influences long-term personality traits. He noted that Bedouins, who consume camel milk and meat, inherit the camel's endurance and strength, making them tough and resilient. This idea remains debated today. Some researchers argue that meat eaters tend to be more aggressive, while vegetarians are more peaceful and calm. The 3 types of human souls. Ibn Khaldun classified human souls based on spiritual awareness into 3 categories. The ordinary soul. This soul is fully attached to the body and relies solely on physical senses to interact with the world. This represents the majority of people. The partially spiritual soul. Mystics and soothsayers. This soul partially detaches from the physical body and has some spiritual perception. Ibn Khaldun associated this with soothsayers and mystics, acknowledging that they sometimes perceive unseen realities, though engaging in such practices is forbidden in Islam. The fully enlightened soul. Prophets. This soul is completely detached from material existence, reaching a pure angelic state. According to Ibn Khaldun, this level of spiritual elevation is exclusive to prophets. Dreams and Ibn Khaldun's interpretation. Ibn Khaldun explained dreams based on the spiritual nature of the human soul. He believed that during sleep, the soul partially detaches from the physical body, allowing it to perceive events from the unseen realm. This explains why some dreams accurately predict the future, either directly or symbolically. His theory aligns with modern discussions on the subconscious mind and dreams, highlighting his advanced psychological insights for his time. Section 2. On Nomadic Life and the Tribes. The second chapter of Ibn Khaldun's Muqaddimah builds upon his theories of human civilization, but here he focuses on nomadic societies, tribes and nations that lead a migratory lifestyle, such as pre-Islamic Arabs, Berbers, Tatars, and others. He explains the characteristics of these societies, their role in the rise and fall of civilizations, and the differences between nomads, Bedouins, and city dwellers. The gradual development of civilization. Ibn Khaldun believed that civilization must develop gradually and cannot be built through a revolutionary approach. The first stage is securing basic necessities like food. Then comes clothing and shelter. Finally, societies move towards luxury and extravagance, which marks the post-necessity stage. He strongly emphasized that food security is the foundation of any civilization. Nomads as the foundation of civilization. Since Bedouins live with only necessities while city dwellers seek luxuries, and because historical records show that most urban populations originate from nomadic tribes, Ibn Khaldun concluded that Bedouins are the foundation of civilization. Nomads versus city dwellers. Bedouins are more virtuous because they remain closer to human nature without the corrupting influences of urban luxury. They are braver, as city dwellers rely on government protection, whereas nomads must defend themselves and rely on their own strength. The transformation of tribes from nomadism to civilization and vice versa. How do nomads become settled societies? When nomadic tribes settle in cities, they gradually learn agriculture, trade, and urban lifestyles. Over generations, they transition into urbanized societies. What happens when civilizations collapse? When states collapse, some of their people return to nomadic life in search of security and sustenance. Ibn Khaldun believed that civilizations decline once they reach their peak, triggering a social cycle where societies rise, flourish, and then fall. Historical examples. The Abbasid Caliphate. It began as a flourishing urban civilization, but as luxury weakened its people, it declined, leading some groups to return to nomadism. Modern times. In Africa and the Arabian Peninsula, some Bedouin tribes transitioned to city life due to oil wealth and modernization. The defeated always imitate the victorious. It is no surprise, Ibn Khaldun explains, that nations tend to imitate those who conquer them, a phenomenon still seen today. He states that the human psyche perceives the victorious as superior. This aligns with George Orwell's idea in Animal Farm. The victor always appears invincible. This imitation happens in clothing, weaponry, administration, and cultural practices. Ibn Khaldun compared it to a son imitating his father, believing him to be the ideal model of perfection. Why Arabs need religious leadership? Ibn Khaldun argued that Arabs are naturally rebellious and independent. Each Arab desires leadership, making it difficult for them to submit to a ruler. Their diverse interests and desires rarely align. The only solution? Religion. Religion unifies Arabs under a clear divine authority. Since most Arabs believe in God as the supreme being, religious leadership is the only system they willingly accept. He also noted that Arabs have historically been quick to accept the truth, which explains why they embraced Islam rapidly and have always opposed injustice. Section 3. On States, Caliphate, and Kingship. In this section, Ibn Khaldun focuses on the rise of states and governments, how power develops, and the factors that lead to their strength or decline. He also explains the nature of rulership in human societies and presents a comprehensive theory on the rise and fall of states. Every new government faces challenges. Ibn Khaldun highlights a fundamental truth. Every new ruling power faces difficulties in its early stages. This is because people initially resist new authority due to their lack of familiarity with it. However, over time, the new government becomes accepted as a reality, and society adapts to its rule. Tribal solidarity, asabiyya, as the basis of power. Asabiyya refers to the strong bond among members of a tribe or group, which serves as the foundation of rulership. States that lose strong asabiyya become weak and vulnerable to invasion or collapse. A strong asabiyya ensures smooth power transitions within the ruling group. However, it weakens when rulers rely on foreign soldiers or ministers rather than their original tribal support. Historical example: the Umayyads relied on the tribal solidarity of Quraysh, but as they began to depend on non-Arab clients, Mawala, their rule weakened. Types of governance, kingship and authority. Ibn Khaldun classifies governance into 3 types. Natural rule. The strong dominate the weak without laws or structured governance. Political rule, based on man-made laws regulating the relationship between rulers and the people. Religious rule, caliphate, based on Islamic law, Sharia, where governance is tied to religious legitimacy, the ideal rule. Ibn Khaldun believes the best government combines both asabiyya and religion because religion regulates the ruler's behavior. A government that relies only on power without religious or social legitimacy will not last. Examples: the Rashidun Caliphate combined strong tribal support, asabiyya, and religious legitimacy, making it stable and powerful. The Mongols in Baghdad ruled by military force alone and collapsed soon after their leaders died. Islamic Caliphate and its religious foundations. The Caliphate is the Islamic system of governance, requiring the Caliph to uphold Islamic law, Sharia, be from Quraysh, according to historical traditions, rule with justice and have the allegiance of the people. Ibn Khaldun argues that the Caliphate was originally based on tribal solidarity, asabiyya, but over time it transitioned into hereditary monarchy, as seen in the Umayyad and Abbasid dynasties. The Golden Rule: states have lifespans like humans. This is one of Ibn Khaldun's most famous contributions to political science and sociology. He states that every state has a lifespan equivalent to 3 generations, with each generation lasting 40 years. Thus, the natural lifespan of a state is around 120 years. However, states do not collapse immediately after reaching this age but enter a gradual decline. Why do states decline? Not because of time itself, but due to human nature. Later generations grow complacent due to stability. Creativity and military courage decline. The economy weakens and the state loses its competitive edge. Consequences. Rival states surpass the declining state either economically or militarily. Eventually, the state loses its dominance and falls. Why do we need a ruler? Ibn Khaldun argues that humans naturally live in groups, making leadership a necessity. The primary role of a ruler is to protect people from each other and defend the state from external threats. Intelligence as a flaw in politics. One of Ibn Khaldun's most surprising insights is that excessive intelligence and deep wisdom can be a disadvantage in politics. A highly intellectual ruler imposes ideas the people cannot comprehend or accept. This can alienate the population and make governance more difficult. Historical example. Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab dismissed Ziyad ibn Abi Sufyan saying, "I did not remove you for incompetence or dishonesty, but because I feared that your superior intellect might overwhelm the people." This insight helps explain why some politicians succeed despite lacking intelligence, while brilliant thinkers often struggle in politics and may withdraw early. Causes of state collapse. Ibn Khaldun summarizes state failure in two primary causes: security, breakdown. When a specific ethnic group, sect, or elite gains unchecked control over security forces, instability follows. Financial corruption. When a small elite becomes wealthier than the state itself, they ignore laws, manipulate policies to serve their interests, undermine government authority. Historical examples. The Abbasid Caliphate collapsed because weak caliphs lost control to Turkish military commanders. Al-Andalus fell due to internal divisions among Muslim rulers, making it easy for the Spanish to reconquer it. Section 4. On cities, settlements, and civilization. In this section, Ibn Khaldun discusses urban development, great architectural structures, and the factors that shape the rise and decline of cities. His analysis provides deep insights into why some regions flourished while others lagged behind. His view on the great buildings of the past. Ibn Khaldun examined monumental structures like the Persian Khosrow's Iwan and the Egyptian pyramids. He rejected the myth that the builders of such structures were giants with enormous bodies, as some believed. Instead, he attributed these architectural marvels to the strength and prosperity of the states that built them. Key factors behind these great constructions. Powerful state capable of mobilizing large numbers of workers for such projects. The ability to create advanced tools and equipment necessary for construction. Efficient organization and administration to manage large-scale projects. The stability of great empires, which allowed construction to continue even after the death of a ruler without disruption. Why has Africa lagged in urban development? Ibn Khaldun, writing centuries ago, identified reasons why Africa, especially North Africa and the Maghreb, remained underdeveloped, a pattern that, in some ways, continues today. Key reasons. The strong tribal nature of the native population, which resists large-scale urbanization. Frequent changes in government due to wars, conflicts, and coups, preventing long-term development. Political instability, forcing every new government to start from scratch. His observations remain remarkably relevant to modern Africa, where political instability and tribal divisions still impact development. Why didn't Arabs and Muslims leave many monumental structures like the pharaohs or the Persians? Ibn Khaldun addressed this question by identifying several key factors. The nomadic nature of Arabs. Despite their conquests, Arabs retained a Bedouin mindset, which did not prioritize monumental construction. Arabs were foreigners in the lands they conquered. Unlike the Persians or Egyptians, Arabs were newcomers to many lands they ruled, leading them to rely on existing infrastructure rather than building new grand structures. Islam discourages extravagance in architecture. Islamic teachings emphasize simplicity and warn against excessive spending on buildings, which limited large-scale architectural projects. Short periods of stability in conquered lands. Due to continuous wars and conflicts, Arabs often lost control of regions before they could invest in long-term urban projects. Hasty city planning. When Arabs built cities, their primary focus was agriculture and grazing, overlooking the importance of other urban facilities that contribute to long-lasting civilizations. Section 5. Livelihoods, means of earning, and crafts. In this section, Ibn Khaldun discusses the relationship between urbanization and the economy, linking diversity in occupations to increased income. He notes that nations lacking natural resources can still achieve economic prosperity through a wide range of economic activities. Belief in superstitions about buried treasures. Ibn Khaldun criticizes the belief in hidden treasures sealed with magical spells, considering it a superstition embraced by those unable to earn wealth through conventional means. Religious scholars do not become wealthy. He asserts that true scholars do not accumulate wealth, as people do not see religious knowledge as a material necessity. However, some religious figures become rich by aligning with rulers and issuing rulings that serve their interests. Characteristics of a successful merchant. Ibn Khaldun believes that success in trade depends on boldness in claiming one's rights, understanding trade laws, building strong relationships, and avoiding hasty decisions. He also emphasizes the importance of quick turnover in selling goods to prevent long-term financial losses. Industry and civilization are twins. According to Ibn Khaldun, industrial progress reflects a nation's strength. He argues that an increase in industries and craftsmanship leads to urban prosperity, while a decline in industries signals the weakening of a state. The essential industries. Ibn Khaldun identifies the fundamental industries necessary for urbanization and societal stability, including agriculture and farming, construction, carpentry, weaving and tailoring, medicine, especially obstetrics, writing and publishing, music, provided it adheres to refined poetic standards. The impact of profession on the human mind. He argues that continuous engagement in a profession shapes a person's way of thinking. For example, an accountant becomes meticulous with numbers, while a writer develops a broad and analytical mindset, demonstrating how professions mold cognitive abilities. Section 6. On sciences and their categories. Education and knowledge distinguish humans from other creatures. Humans share movement, sensation, and methods of nourishment with animals. However, what sets humans apart is their intellect, which enables them to connect ideas, accept religion, discern what benefits or harms them, and ultimately cultivate knowledge. Through this intellectual capacity, science emerges, granting humans true distinction over other creatures. Thought alone is of limited use unless it leads to the development of sciences, which in turn give rise to various industries. This process establishes humanity's vital role in advancing civilization and continuously evolving its capabilities. The development of sciences and industries is directly linked to civilization. Sciences are inherently connected to industries, and even the teaching of knowledge is considered a form of industry. A fundamental aspect of civilization's progress is the advancement of both sciences and industries. The quality of knowledge, teaching methods, and the excellence and expansion of industry serve as direct indicators of a state's strength and the flourishing of its civilization. Categories of sciences. Ibn Khaldun classified sciences into two main types. Natural sciences. These are derived from human reasoning and intellect, resembling philosophical sciences that stem from wisdom and critical thinking. Transmitted sciences. These rely on knowledge passed down from previous generations rather than individual reasoning. In his Muqaddimah, Ibn Khaldun listed various fields of study, including Quranic sciences, exegesis, hadith, jurisprudence, its principles, medicine, logic, engineering, and agriculture, among others. Explanation of the saying, "Man is by nature a social being." Ibn Khaldun elaborated on this famous phrase, explaining that no individual can survive alone, no matter how much they try. Humans require others to fulfill their essential needs, as they lack the ability to secure all necessities by themselves. This inherent social nature fosters cooperation and meaningful relationships among people to secure food, establish civilization, ensure health, and maintain security. However, this same nature also gives rise to conflicts, friendships, wars, and peace among individuals, tribes, and nations. The essential role of knowledge in human perfection. Ibn Khaldun believed that humans are born with a blank slate for a mind. Their intellect and humanity develop through the acquisition of knowledge. He supported this view with the Quranic verse, "Read in the name of your Lord who created man from a clot. Read, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man what he did not know." This idea aligns well with Islamic beliefs, emphasizing that human purpose revolves around worship and the development of the earth, both of which are impossible without knowledge, whether transmitted or rational. Despite his global perspective, Ibn Khaldun always anchored his reasoning in Islamic principles. Ibn Khaldun's view on philosophy. While Ibn Khaldun titled a section of his work "Refuting Philosophy and the Corruption of Its Followers," he did not entirely dismiss its value. Instead, he acknowledged some of its merits and subtly conceded its importance. His primary criticism of philosophy was its tendency to conflict with religion, particularly when it delved into existential matters already clarified by divine revelation. He rejected using pure reason to explain matters unseen, as such conclusions could contradict Islamic teachings. Therefore, he warned against philosophy when it ventured into theological debates. However, he also praised philosophy for sharpening the mind, organizing thoughts, and strengthening logical reasoning. He believed that philosophical methods could aid in presenting strong, indisputable arguments. Thus, while he permitted engaging with philosophical concepts, he urged caution when they conflicted with religious principles. Ibn Khaldun's biggest misstep. His view on chemistry. While Ibn Khaldun's Muqaddimah is widely admired, his stance on chemistry is seen as a major flaw. He mistakenly conflated legitimate chemical sciences with alchemy, failing to distinguish between the scientific work of figures like Jabir ibn Hayyan and Ibn Sina, and the dubious claims of alchemists who falsely asserted they could transmute metals into gold. Ibn Khaldun's view on concise writing in education. Ibn Khaldun criticized the trend of extreme brevity in educational texts, arguing that excessive summarization could lead to misunderstandings and disrupt the logical flow of ideas. He believed that knowledge should be acquired gradually rather than in condensed bursts. However, his argument is most valid when applied to educational writing rather than general cultural works. For casual readers, shorter books are often more accessible and engaging than lengthy tomes. Ibn Khaldun's stance on strict discipline in education. Ibn Khaldun strongly opposed harsh discipline in education. He argued that excessive strictness crushed students' spirits, reduced their intellectual curiosity, and turned them into passive learners. Moreover, he believed that oppressive educational environments encouraged dishonesty and deceit as students sought to escape punishment. He extended this concept to entire societies, stating that nations subjected to oppression tend to develop cunning and deceitful behaviors. He cited the historical persecution of Jews as an example, asserting that prolonged oppression contributed to the traits commonly attributed to them. Ibn Khaldun's advice on improving language skills. Ibn Khaldun outlined an effective approach for language development, memorizing high-quality literary passages, understanding them thoroughly, and incorporating them into one's writing. To build on his advice, Modern readers can enhance their language skills through extensive reading and exposure to well-written texts. Engaging with literature of exceptional linguistic quality is essential for improving one's command of language. In conclusion, this comprehensive summary of Ibn Khaldun's Muqaddimah highlights how this book stands as one of the greatest works that addresses topics such as sociology, politics, history, and civilization. Through this work, Ibn Khaldun presented a complete philosophy of human sciences and civilization, emphasizing the importance of knowledge and reason in the progress and prosperity of societies. He addressed many concepts that remain relevant and influential in our understanding of the world to this day. If these ideas have sparked your interest and illuminated aspects of social and historical thought, don't hesitate to like this summary and subscribe to the channel for more diverse and informative content. What do you think of Ibn Khaldun's ideas? Do you believe many of his views still apply to our contemporary world? Share your thoughts in the comments.